Let's get into some Week 10 NFL player props. Let's start right off with Josh Palmer at the over 51.5 receiving yards at -114 on FanDuel. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are out again. Josh Palmer is going to be that primary wide receiver for Justin Herbert. It's two straight games. He's hit this in two straight games, and he's also gotten double-digit targets in two straight games. I love that. 78.4% of his snaps are coming from the outside. He's pretty even between being on the right side and the left side. So he's going to see two cornerbacks primarily, and that's going to be Travarius Ward and Demodor Lenoir on the outside. Lenoir is ranked 93rd according to Pro Football Focus. Ward is going to be the harder guy for Palmer to get around. He only allowed 11 yards versus the Los Angeles Rams a few weeks ago, but the week before that gave up 104 yards to the Kansas City Chiefs. So, even with that, though, I'm not too worried about the corners. I just think the spread right now is at 7 for San Francisco. Chargers are going to be playing from behind. Justin Herbert in this offense, they're going to find a way to put Palmer in the spots that he needs to be in order to succeed against this defense. And if they're playing from behind, Herbert's going to have no choice but to throw this football. And I think Palmer is going to be, him and Gerald Everett are going to be the primary guys targeted, and Austin Eckler in this offense. But I think he gets to over 51.5. He'll get to 55 to 60 yards in this game. So give me just Josh Palmer over 51.5 receiving yards at -114 on FanDuel. So let's move on now to Darnell Mooney, over 41.5 receiving yards at -120 on BetMGM. Right as I saw this number, I thought it was way too low. I was like, this is way too low of a number. I started thinking about it a little bit, and I was like, man, this is kind of a really, really good spot. Now that I think about it, the Detroit Lions give up the fourth most rushing yards to quarterbacks at 28.1 per game. They also can't defend the running back. And, the Bears ran the ball last week 62.2% of the time. I believe they're third in the NFL in most rush attempts. This is a team that just loves to run the football. And if this game gets out of hand for Detroit, and it's because the Bears are pounding the ball with Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery and Justin Fields, why are they going to throw the football? Why are they going to throw? Even though this is a bad secondary, I want to think that Matt Eberflus and this team is like, okay, Justin can run the ball. We know Justin can run, but can Justin really throw? We want Justin to start throwing the ball. And this is kind of like, in my mind, a practice session for Justin Fields. I feel like this is a practice session. This is the third worst coverage team in the NFL according to Pro Football Focus. They give up the 7th most yards to wide receivers. This team cannot defend the pass. This is a time for Justin Fields to show that he can throw the football, because we know he can run. We know what he can do with his legs. We saw what he did last week against Miami. But what can he do with his arm? And I'm hoping that Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy gets Justin Fields to start throwing the ball more, so we can see against a team like this, that in their mind they're thinking this is a practice session. Make him start throwing the ball a little bit more, even though I know they've been successful on the ground. So it's going to be one of two things. It's going to be, hey, we were successful on the ground last week, let's pound it again. Or it's going to be, hey, we need to start getting Justin to throw the ball and start developing his arm. Let's get him to start throwing the ball against a bad secondary. So it's going to be interesting. But even with all that, I think Mooney hits this at over 41.5. I'm not going to go up any higher than this. I won't go to 47, won't go to 48, won't go to 50. But I will say at 42, I believe he can hit this one. He's also hit this in 6 straight games. So give me Darnell Mooney over 41.5 receiving yards at -120 on BetMGM. Saquon Barkley, over 21.5 rush attempts at -115 on DK. I love this one, man. A game script is right there for him. Absolute workhorse in the offense. Matt Breida ain't even getting a chance on this offense for the New York Giants. The Texans are giving up 27.11 rush attempts per game. Barkley has only hit this in 3 of 8 games, but with the Giants coming off a bye, he got his rest. He's ready to go. He's ready to work. I believe that. Game scripts there. And Daniel Jones, bro, like, this team is crazy. They're 6-2 because they don't look 6-2. Honestly, this team looks like this team kind of looks like they're 5-3. No, not 5. 5-3. You know what I mean? Maybe one game. Maybe I don't know. They just don't look like a 6-2 team. I just don't believe it. And Daniel Jones really hasn't been playing that well. They want to make sure he's out of the spotlight. They want to put Saquon Barkley in the spotlight. So I believe he's going to have 20 23 to 25 rush attempts in this game. So give me Saquon Barkley over 21.5 rush attempts at -115 on DK. And let's get to my favorite one. Let's go to Russell Wilson over 225 pass yards at -114 on FanDuel. It's time for Russ to cook. It's finally time for Russ to show why the Denver Broncos just mortgaged their entire future to get this guy. And it's about time. And I think he's going to do it this week. This week, Pete Carroll coming out, talking about all that, kind of throwing some shade at him, being like, oh, I'm glad Geno Smith's wearing the wristband. We didn't used to wear the wristband in the past, and I think, and then Russ commented on that saying they won so many. I just feel like that kind of got under Russ's skin. Right now, Pete Carroll is winning that battle. When a great quarterback and a great coach depart and they have to revamp the team alone without each other, who's more successful? Tom Brady was more successful than Bill Belichick. And I believe that Pete Carroll right now is more successful than, not even I think, it's just a fact. Pete Carroll is being more successful than Russell Wilson is right now, turning Geno Smith into Russell Wilson. I think that's going to kind of getting under Russ's skin a little bit, and this is a great bounce back spot for him. Great bounce back spot. The Tennessee Titans this week, they give up 295 pass yards per game, and the spread is at 2.5 for the Titans, so it's going to be a close one. They're probably going to have to throw the ball. Russ has hit this in 4 of 7 games, 3 of 4 on the road, which I like. And also, the Titans give up the second least rush yards in the NFL. So Melvin Gordon's not going to be able to get going. It's going to be a lot of Russ throwing the football, and he's taking advantage of a bad secondary. I believe he's going to get – this number is way too low in my mind, way too low. He's getting 250 at least in my mind. So I love this one. Great bounce back spot for Denver. They need to finally win a game, and it's going to be a good one in Nashville. So give me Russell Wilson over 225 pass yards at -114 on FanDuel. That's going to do it for my Week 10 NFL player props. This has been Booksmart, and I'll talk to you guys later.